EQSL.
You get EQSL, yeah.
Well,
yeah. This is another way of doing it, where you actually get paper ones
Yeah,
through the post. And
there's a mailing,
for me,
mailing service.
yeah, there's nothing better really. That you make say you make a contact on SSP into a nice country, like Korea or somewhere you don't work every day, and you send them a card and they send you one back through the post and it drops on your doorstep and you open it, it's got a nice picture of a beach somewhere you'll never go, you know, and you can decorate your wall in your shack with these cards. I think they're really good. But if you're going to start a collection, really, the first thing you need to do is get your own cards printed. Now there's various ways of doing this, and there's loads of information on the web. I use a company called Classic Publishing Company. Now, for 200 cards, double-sided, costs about 62 quid. Take that. And all you do is upload your own artwork. Now, I forgot to bring my QSL card in, but basically I took a picture of QSL Bank and I've used that as the front of my card. And in the top corner I put the St George's flag for England. And that's another tip as well. If you're going to design your own QSL card, it's better to put the St George's flag rather than the Union Jack, because each country within the British Isles is a separate DX entity. So Wales has got its own flag, Scotland, Ireland and England. So if somebody contacts, some people collect QSL cards for the flags. So they'll want the English flag rather than the Union Jack. So it's just a tip. If you've not got a full license, in other words, if you're foundation or intermediate and you want to start doing QSL, there's nothing to stop you doing it. But I suggest that you don't order too many cards, because otherwise it might be a waste if you upgrade your license. There are some do's and don'ts with cards, what you put on the back. We'll go through that as we go along. If you use QRZ, and I think most people do, that do HF, make sure that your details are up to date. In other words, your address and your email are up to date. There's two ways, well, there's actually three ways of doing it. You state on your QSL, on your QRZ page, whether you want to send QRZ cards direct or through the bureau. There is another way of doing it, but I'll talk about it. The easiest way is direct, and direct only means that when you've made a contact with somebody, it says on their QRZ page, I accept QSL cards direct. So you send it to the address that you see on QRZ. State on your card, please QSL, which means you want one back. And some people charge postage. They might charge a couple of dollars, and so I keep a few dollars to one side. So that's the easiest one, is the direct one. You send one to them, they send one back to you. Simple. Now the other way, if you're a member of the RSGB, there's another method, and it's called the Bureau. Has anybody heard of the Bureau? You've heard of it? Mm-hmm. Do you know how it works?
It's like a PO box, isn't it?
Basically, it is wrong. Yeah. What it is, but all you do is you send your cards to the RSGB Bureau, and they forward them on to all the bureaus in different countries, and then their particular bureau will send them to each individual radio operator. It's the cheaper option, actually, because it's free. All it costs you is a first or second class stamp. And the way to do it, I'll come to in a minute, but I'll just talk about direct for a moment. When you've logged your QSO on QRZ, check whether the contact accepts direct and how much they charge for return postage. Sometimes it can be $2, sometimes it can be $3, depending on where they are in the world. I keep a few dollars on hand for this purpose, and I make out the card address to the station, enclose a self-addressed envelope, put how many dollars they ask for, mark my card, please QSL, meaning I want one back, and then hopefully I'll get one back. Sometimes I have to wait a week, sometimes I have to wait a full, sometimes I have to wait a month. Depends on what the postal is in different parts of the world. I got a card the other day from Algeria, and I made the contact last September. So you can tell it does take some time. The bureau, which is the cheaper option, first thing you need to do, and Alan will take over from this in a minute, you need to find out who your QSL manager is at the RSGB. And all you do is go on the RSGB website and look up QSL manager. If you're an M0, if you're an M7, if you're a 2E0, there's a different QSL manager that handles different call signs. You send in 6 envelopes. Alan's got the envelopes there. And you mark them all with your address. 6 envelopes with your own address and a stamp on it. You mark each envelope 654321. So what they will do, when they've got some cards for you, they'll send envelope number 6 first, or they might send envelope number 1 first. So when you receive number 6 or number 1, knowing it's your last one, send them another 6 envelopes. That's the way you do it.
The only thing is to mark your last envelope with last envelope.
Right.
Whether you work 6 down to 1 or 1 down to 6, mark the last envelope with last envelope. That way, it reminds you that you're down to the bottom.
Yeah, mark number 1 as the last envelope. Dead easy. And you put your call sign on each one, like Al's done there, G0ROW,
Top left hand corner.
on the top left hand corner. And then when stations look you up, they will see you accept cards from the bureau, and hopefully you will receive one of these envelopes back with some cards in it. They normally send them in batches of 8. I've had, in 12 months, I've had 2 envelopes back from them with 8 cards in each. I think what they do is send them quarterly.
Yeah, periodically what they do is, if they want to have a clear out, whatever you've got in at that particular time, they have a clear out, otherwise, I mean, people who's not very active, you find they don't put many cards in, so
Yeah.
that's what they do, they clear whatever they've got periodically.
When you receive an envelope with say 5 or 6 or 8 cards in, have a look on the back of them, because sometimes they'll mark them thanks QSL, meaning they're thanking you for sending them a card, but you've forgotten you've already sent him a card. Don't send him another one. But if it says please QSL, that's when you send one back to the bureau for him, because he's asking for a return card. It's just etiquette, really. So that's what you send. If it's marked please QSL, send one back. Then you can send a return card through the bureau, or they may mark it thanks QSL, which means they're sending a reply card back to you. Now the bureau is very slow, we will say that. As an example, in over a year I've received 2 envelopes back with cards in. But it's cheap. You don't have to put dollars in or anything like that. Now when you want to, this is how you receive cards from the bureau. To send cards from the bureau, you send up to 8 cards to the RSGB QSL Bureau, PO Box 5, Halifax, HX1 9RG. If you don't have to remember that, I'll be putting this out on an email, but you can find that address on the RSGB website.
Or you can find it in there.
Or you can find it in the book, if you've got one of those books.
Or
Yeah.
It's all done on the website.
Now, when you're sending cards to the Bureau, you must put your RSGB membership number in the top left-hand corner. And then also put the outer cover of a Radcom. You know that when you get Radcom from the RSGB, there's always a sheet of paper in the front. Cut the bit out that's got your name and address on it with your membership number on, and then close that in the envelope. that proves to them that you're a member of the RSGB. Once you send that to him, remember to mark your cards, please QSL if you want one back, or thanks for the QSL if you're replying to somebody. And basically, that's it for the Bureau. Yeah, you've got the cards that you send to your particular QSL manager, and the cards that you're sending via the Bureau, you send to that Halifax address, which you can find either from me or Alan or in the book, or look it up on the website. Dead simple. Now the third way, this is what confuses some people, is that some countries that have very poor mail services, third world countries, shall we say, island nations, here, there and everywhere, that don't have planes landing to take airmail, some of the stations use what they call a QSL manager. Now, he might be, let's say, in the Seychelles, this station you work in, but the guy you're going to send the card to is in America, because he's the QSL manager for the guy in the Seychelles. But you find that out on his QLZ page. So when you've worked him, look on his QLZ page, and if he says QSL via, let's say, K94X, you have to then look K94X up to find the address and find out how much he's going to charge. Now what you do then, because it's very similar to the direct, but you're sending it to an intermediary, basically. Some stations use a QSL manager to handle the cards. If it states on the QSL page the call sign of the QSL manager, you send the card to him, and then to the call sign of the manager in the via box. And we'll show you that on Alan's card. You have two boxes, via and radio. So if you're using the QSL manager, you put via the K4NX, the American station, and where it says radio, you put the station you've worked. Does that make sense? You understand that? Now what you do then, you look up on the QSL manager's page, see what he charges. He might want a couple of dollars. You send him a self-addressed envelope, your card, and the card that you send him for the station in the Seychelles, but you're sending it to America, not the Seychelles, then he will send you the card back from the Seychelles, because they have a stock of them, because he's a QSL manager. And that's how it works. And it will state on there, you send the card to the manager and enter the call sign of the manager in the via box, and the station worked in the radio box on the card. Include the self-addressed envelope and the relevant amount of dollars asked for by the manager. Because he'll probably ask you for a couple of dollars for postage. Because don't forget, he's handling not just that one station in the Seychelles. A QSL manager might be handling 50 different stations from all over the world. Now, he's not going to send out cards for free, is he? Because it's going to be a lot of money in postage. So you have to cover the postage, whatever he quotes on the QRZ page. One more way of doing it, does anybody use Clublog?
Yeah.
We all use Clublog? No, you don't, do you, Chris? You do? Do you use Clublog, don't you, Jamie? Yeah. Do you use Clublog? Yeah, Alan uses Clublog. If you use Clublog's free, by the way. You just upload your logs to it. And you can look down all the stations you've worked. And on some of them, you might see a box and it says OQRS at the side of it. OQRS stands for Online QSL Reply Service. If you click on it, it might give you the option of applying for a QSL card from that station, either direct or through the Bureau. If it's direct, they'll ask you for a couple of dollars, but you can pay through PayPal on the OQRS. If it's a Bureau, it's free, and Clublog does it for you. So all you do is click on Bureau, that's free. That means you've requested a card, Club log do the rest. Might take a few months, but you might get one back then. But then again, you have to look up whether it says thanks QSL or please QSL, and then you've got to go through the rigmarole of sending in one either direct or through the bureau, which would be the RSGB. All sounds very complicated, but believe you me, it's very easy. Do you have any questions before we show you the cards?
It sounds like the direct way is the way to go if you want.
It is.
The
something
direct
quick.
way, yeah, but not everybody wants to send you direct cards. They use the bureau. But the only way you find that out is look on the QRZ page.
Yeah.
The bureau is the direct way is the easiest way.
Yeah.
It's so simple because all you're doing, it's like me sending you a letter and you replying to me, basically. That's direct. But some people don't accept QSL cards at all because they've gone over to EQSL, like you say. Or some people don't want to be bothered with collecting these things. It's an old-fashioned way, to be perfectly honest, but I personally quite like it. I love getting these through the post. And Alan does. Alan's been collecting them years, and he's got hundreds of them. I've been collecting them nearly a year. I think I've got about 70 now.
I've run out of wall space.
You know.
In a bigger shack.
But it's nothing better than you go to the letterbox and you see a foreign stamp on an envelope, and you open it and you get one of these things, you know, with a nice picture on it and everything, and a message from somebody. It's really, really good. So when you design your own cards, you've got to design them. Oh, by the way, when I said that mine cost 62 quid from Classic Publishing, which you can find on the web, they standardise the back of your card. You don't have to design it, because all he does is QSL Cards.
What was that company name again?
Classic Publishing Company.
Is it minimum amount?
Sorry,
Is it minimum amount?
100 I think is the minimum. Might be 50. I'm not sure.
What's the web do? Doesn't your company do it?
Heather's got a company called
Olympic Press.
Olympic Press. Now they will probably be cheaper, but the only thing with Olympic Press, because Olympic Press don't specialise in these, you'd have to design your own back like we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that one there, that's my own design.
That's your own design.
Yeah.
Well, Classic Publishing Company, when you go on the website, the only thing you have to do is upload your artwork.
Yeah.
And he'll send you a proof back via email, and you can have a look at it, and he'll design the back for you. And then you say, yeah, I like that, but can you put this there? Can you put that there? Can you put this? And you can tweak it. Once you're happy with it,
On the either the web page and Facebook, could you just put the link?
Who's that for, John? Oh, it's the
yes,
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
front
Yeah.
one, right.
Yeah.
Just put headed
Yeah.
QSL cards. Just put all the links in,
Yeah,
and then
I'll do that.
that was right.
I'll do that tomorrow. I'll put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could even put it on the website.
Or on the website if Heather put it on for me. Yeah. But
Pass that round, mate.
yeah,
You can also upload your notes.
yeah.
That's the
That's the one that we had designed for the
I
club.
got one, yeah.
Yeah, that was done by Olympic Press.
that one. The other thing we've got to point out that also you'll find that some people are quite happy to collect the $2 or $3 and don't reply. So you've got to be prepared to lose that $2 or $3.
Yes.
It does happen.
It does happen, but I've only ever had it happen to me
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Yeah. I've had a few times where
Yeah.
I've enclosed a couple of dollars and I've never got the card.
So when it goes to the bureau, say he's going to collect a lot, say for the guy who's in the Seychelles and Isle Island and he's in America, is he going to get a collection before he sends him over to him?
The bureau, what the bureau do, when you send a card or cards to the bureau, they put them in pigeonholes.
Right.
Right, oh right, that's for America, that's for this, that's for France, that's for this, that's for that. And when those pigeonholes get full, that's when they start sending them out to all those French ones will go to the French Radio Bureau. All those American ones will go to the American Bureau. Then the American Bureau will send all the individuals out to different ham radio operators. That's how the Bureau works.
Yeah.
And
So it
that's
could
why
be-
it's slow.
It's going to be even longer then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's
a very
slow.
slow. I mean, I've had cards about 10 years.
Yeah.
Do
It's
QSL
slow but
10
cheap.
years, you know what I mean?
Slow but cheap.
It's, you know, it's that sort of,
Yeah.
distance, you know.
But yeah, it's another facet to the hobby, really. It's some people are not interested in QSL cards, can't be arsed with it. I just like it. I just like the fact that they drop through the.
There's quite a market on eBay for old ones,
Yeah,
Yeah.
30s ones.
yeah. I just like it when I go to the letterbox and I see
Yeah.
a foreign stamp and I think, oh, who sent me a card? You know, and they open it up and.
Especially if he gets a card that I haven't got, he's really pleased about it.
I got one of the week
Yeah.
from China.
noticed that.
Oh, we don't notice that. He likes to remind me that he's got a Chinese one and I haven't. But I've got a Japan one and he hasn't.
And I've got a French Guiana,
Yeah,
and you haven't.
Well, there's this competition that goes on between.
We have a bit of banter, don't we? Well, it's all good fun. It's just something to do. Any more questions? No?
Nigel does have this as a template as well, file if anybody wanted
Yeah.
it designing, so you keep the back the same but
Just
make your
change
own
the
front.
Yeah.
Just change it from.
Just send the details to Nigel and he'll put it together for you. Then
So-
it saves you having it
Yeah.
designed.
And I'll get a link sorted out for classics.
If there's any sort of bits of problems you're not sure about, just email one of us and
Yeah.
But we had a few Martha with what we were going to actually put on the back, didn't we?
Well, because you were new to QSL cards,
Yeah.
you didn't understand the VIA, did you?
No.
At first. Do you understand it now?
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah.
the other thing is you got to think about is that some countries don't have bureaus at all.
Yeah.
Now those that don't have bureaus very often will have a QSL manager either in America or Spain.
Spain do a lot.
Spain do a lot. So in some of the Arab countries that don't have a bureau, very often go through EA, which is Spain.
Right.
So you'll find that quite regular
Yeah.
to go straight.
So he'll end up just getting a bulk in Spain before he sends them off to
Yeah, yeah.
Arab.
What I shall do, what I've been reading out from this with all the bullet points of what we've been talking about, I will send out as an email with an attachment. So it'll have that Halifax address on it
Yeah.
and what to do with bureaus
Yeah.
and so on. I'll put that as an attachment
Oh, we've come round.
tomorrow when I send it out.
On the Facebook page, you know, at the top,
Yeah,
if you go on the top header, there's a place for files.
Some good.
Yeah.
okay.
There's little holdings of files on there.
Right, okay.
You copy with, I don't know if you've got a scanner that you can scan it to PDF.
No,
Well, the other can.
whatever can.
You scan it to PDF.
Or if it's a Word document, you can just save it as PDF.
Yeah. send it
Don't
to
confuse
PDF,
him.
Then put it in the files at the top of the web.
Just send it
I'll have a
out.
look at that.
Well, if
I'm not
Okay.
brilliant with computers.
Okay,
Just send it, mate.
out, she'll
Send
see
it
it.
to Heather and put it on a PDF.
If I struggle with anything, I
It just
send it
says
to Heather.
what info on the page.
Yeah,
Just say, I've uploaded a file.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You can have a look at it as and what.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions or
No, I feel that.
everybody happy with
I
that?
mean, if you don't have a full license and you don't want to spend the money, I suggest you use EQSL. And you can actually, I don't know if you're aware,
You can print some.
you can print
You
them.
can print them off.
Yeah, and you can also design your own. I think you have to pay. I think it's about $15.
I didn't pay.
These are free templates.
It's-
It's a bit
Yeah,
basic.
there's free ones.
Yeah, there's a few free ones.
Yeah, but if you want to have your own card on,
Yeah.
if you actually pay about $15,
I think you have to be a bronze member or something.
Yeah, it'll have to be the basic
Something
one.
like that. Yeah.
I've got my own card on mine, and it's the same as the QSL card there.
Right.
The only thing you've got to remember is it prints about 3/4 of an inch or 20 millimetres along the bottom, along across your card. So I moved mine up and left that bottom bit blank.
Right. I'll look at that.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's quite easy to do. But I condensed it off virtually off that one and just moved it up.
Right.
I mean, I got a lot of QSL cards.
Yeah.
I was doing FT8 at one stage.
Oh yeah, you get loads through FTA.
I've got more EQSL cards than fit in that briefcase.
I bet you have,
Well,
yeah.
can you not download them and put them on a file on your computer?
Yeah.
Do it that way. So
Yeah.
instead of sort of having.
Sometimes I'm sitting, do flick through them sometimes, occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These things are nice when they come through to put in your shack on the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was 12, 14 years of age, obviously, and I couldn't pass Morse, so I never bothered to get my licence, but I used to listen to shortwave broadcasts,
Yeah.
and I used to send off signal reports to get the QSL cards, and I don't know where they've all gone, but I had Quito, Ecuador, I had Sofia, Bulgaria, I had China, and all that, Voice of America, because they use so much power. I had a veritable collection of...
I received one on my last batch of bureau cards from Germany, an SWL listener.
Yeah.
Right.
And what it said was, I monitored your QSO
Yeah.
with somebody else. I can't remember which. I think it was T77 Lima Alpha, San Marino. I said, I heard you. Would you mind sending me a QSL card?
Alright. I have had a shortwave listener QSL cards, but there's no QRZ for shortwave listeners.
No.
So you can't necessarily get their address.
No, but he put his on the card.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
There's still there is a club of shortwave listeners called the International Shortwave League.
Yeah.
And they do have a bureau.
Right.
You can actually become a member. I think it's about 10 quid, something like that. I can't remember.
What's that? International
International Shortwave League.
Yeah.
Now there is a clip on our webpage where you can click direct to it, I think, and apply. And you can send cards through a bureau with them.
Because quite a few of them monitor whisper. You know, the whisper beacons. And quite often when I look on the world map or look in the whisper database, there's shortwave listeners on there.
Yeah.
Pick me up.
Well, you'll find if you join the International Shortwave League, you actually get a numbered call sign. So that you get it's the same call sign as G. You have a G and then you have 4 or 5 numbers. Mine's got 4 because I've been a member a long time.
Right.
And you can send QSL cards to broadcast stations if you want to through the International Shortwave League.
Right. I've only ever received them from broadcast stations.
Yeah.
It was quite good, when the one from Quito, Ecuador came.
No, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is
Basically, they do appreciate QSLs
Yeah.
into broadcast station, and if in actual fact, what I'll do, I'll put on the web page, I'll send out a copy of the magazine, and get permission of them to send a copy of the magazine that comes out. You can have it out either in a PDF format, or you can actually have a little magazine, but you got to pay for it. I'll send you the format from the International Shortwave League out, and you can read it technically and see what's in it, and you'll see these broadcast stations and everything in it.
There's that website, radio something.info. It's on Lewis's website, I think, but you can see who's broadcasting at any specific time. So if you're trying to calibrate your radio, I've got a radio, I need to calibrate it.
Yeah.
It's crystal frequency, so I looked for a Chinese broadcast station because they're strong, whose frequency, and then I could have sent a signal report to them, but I didn't. But they put the address on it.
Well, there are sections of the band which is WWV, which is supposed to be a crystal sort of frequencies to set your rigs up on, and it's called WWV, and they're on several frequencies on the short wave. And they're on specific frequencies.
But I've been using the DX beacon as well.
It's the same sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
I'll put a link onto that so you can all read it. Who wants to read it? The rest you can just bin it up to you, you know.
I received a card last year, just before the Taliban took it over from Afghanistan. I'll never get another one from there,
No.
ever. I'm quite proud of that one. And somebody said to me when I put it on Facebook, they said, hang on to that, it'll be worth a fortune in a few years.
I've got one.
Yeah, I know you have to.
Yeah, top truck,
Living,
yeah.
haven't you?
Yeah.
I've got one for living.
QSL.
Unfortunately, because I only, well, 99.9% of it, I'm doing Morse. And it's very rare you get one to confirm a Morse QSL.
That's right.
Because it's not, because when you're talking on the air, you say, oh, can you send me a QSL card? Yeah, of course I can. But to someone to key that in,
No, I know.
it's, it would take,
Well, again, you look on the QR.
yeah. But a
Yeah.
lot of people who I contact on Morse, they give me a web contact.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to QRZ, you get that web
Yeah.
contact. I've got 4,500 on there, which have all been Morse contacts, most of them.
Yeah. So to summarise, really, you've got direct, bureau, via for a QSL manager, and OQRS if you use Clublog. Those are your 4 different methods. Easiest one, direct, it costs you a couple of dollars. Cheaper option, bureau, but it takes a while. Via, very similar to direct, but you're using an intermediary. And then OQRS will cost you a couple of dollars via PayPal if you're requesting it direct. And it'll be free if you're requesting it via the bureau. And that's it, basically. Any other information you need, contact me or we can sort it out.
Nice one.
Right, okay.